Hi there, Moreno here. 5 New Yorkers are now dead. At least 82 people have gotten sick. 8 are still in the hospital. And I think that the council speaker, Julie Menin, is asking some very fair questions about how the city handled this Legionnaires outbreak on the Upper East Side. Because here's the thing, Legionnaires disease isn't some new disease that nobody knew how to deal with. We know what causes it. We know the dangers posed by contaminated cooling towers. And we literally just went through a deadly Legionnaires outbreak in Harlem last year. After that happened, the city council acted. We passed legislation requiring more frequent testing of cooling towers during the warmer months, going from once every 90 days to once every 30 days. That was the right thing to do. But as I say all the time, passing a law doesn't mean very much if nobody is enforcing it. And that's really the issue Speaker Julie Menin is raising here. Did the city move quickly enough once this outbreak began? Did people in the affected neighborhoods get the information they needed? Were the cooling towers that posed a potential danger dealt with aggressively enough? And were the people in charge actually communicating with one another? Because some of what we're learning is pretty disturbing, quite frankly. Speaker Menin says that during this outbreak, New Yorkers weren't promptly told which buildings had tested positive for Legionella. She says she repeatedly asked the health department to proactively disinfect cooling towers in the affected area while they were still trying to pinpoint the source, and that didn't happen. Now the health department says 34 cooling towers at 33 buildings where live bacteria was found have been cleaned and disinfected. And that's good. But as of yesterday, test results from another 140 cooling towers were still pending. And now 5 people are dead. There's also this bizarre communication breakdown that Speaker Menin pointed out. Elected officials apparently learned about the second death from the news media. They contacted the health department, and according to Menin, the health department apparently hadn't been informed yet either. I mean, come on. We're talking about a deadly public health outbreak in New York City. How is the health department potentially finding out about a death from the media? Somebody's got to explain that. And then there's another issue that I think gets to a much bigger problem with city government, and I think we need to do something to address it. We apparently have at least 20 vacancies among the water ecologists, the people who actually respond when Legionella is found. That's more than a third of this critical workforce. Now, we hear an awful lot in government about new programs, new initiatives, new spending, new laws, new everything. Sometimes governing really isn't that complicated. Fill the jobs we already have. Enforce the laws already on the books. Make sure one agency knows what another agency is doing. Simple as that. And when there's a public health emergency, tell people what the hell is going on. That has nothing to do with ideology, left wing, right wing, whatever. It's just competent government. And that's why I give Julie Menin a lot of credit here. She's not just pointing fingers, she's actually proposing something. The council is looking at legislation to improve public notifications during outbreaks, create a dedicated summer hotline so people can get answers, identify buildings that aren't complying with cooling tower requirements, and make sure dangerous towers are disinfected. And we're going to have an oversight hearing in September to figure out exactly what happened here. That's exactly what the city council is supposed to do. And look, this doesn't have to turn into some partisan attack on Mayor Mamdani. The scientists, inspectors, epidemiologists, and other city workers who've been dealing with this outbreak deserve our thanks. And the health department now says it believes the source of the outbreak has likely been eliminated. And I certainly hope that's the case. But 5 people are dead. So yes, there needs to be questions asked. Why wasn't information getting out faster? Why was there apparently a breakdown in communication about fatalities? Why do we have more than a third of these critical water ecologist positions vacant? Could cooling towers have been disinfected sooner? And most important, what do we have to change before this happens again? Those aren't gotcha questions. Those are exactly the questions government's supposed to ask after something like this. They're the questions I'm going to be asking at this hearing in September, because there will be another emergency. Hopefully not tomorrow. Hopefully no time soon. But there will be one. And when it happens, New Yorkers shouldn't have to wonder whether the right hand of city government knows what the left hand is doing. Julie Menin's doing her job by asking tough questions and pushing for answers. The administration should answer them. And then all of us in city government have an obligation to fix whatever went wrong. 5 New Yorkers have already lost their lives. We owe them and their families at least that much.